Hello YouTube. This is my first video on my channel, and this video is entitled Men Going God's Way. I coined that term myself. I just made it up just now, and I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. Been planning on doing this for a while. I got a ton of topics I want to get down to. And this basically stems from the fact that I don't really see anybody on YouTube discussing the topics I want to discuss, the truths that are in my mind. There's a lot of misdirection, and not necessarily misdirection, but just there's a lot of truths out there, but I just want to make it really simple for people so they don't get confused. As to the reality of the situation, I am a Muslim. I am a man. I try to be a man of God the best I can. And apparently the whole world has rejected God. I don't know exactly how this happened so fast. I thought there were still some people that believed in God. Apparently, like most people don't believe in God. I feel like the number is over 90%. I could be wrong, but I feel like 90% of this generation, like the millennial generation, does not believe in God. Or they may believe in God, but they think organized religion is bullshit. Whether it's Judaism, learning from the scriptures, the original scriptures, the Bible, or in my case, I'm going to be talking about Islam, or incorporating a lot of the Islamic ideas that are there in the Christianity and Judaism. Nothing really contradicts Islamic Judaism except for, there's additions and differences, but the basic principles are all there. Why is this important? If people care about the truth, people care about reality, people care about being red-pilled and knowing the truth, and so do I. I myself care a lot about the truth. I care a lot about observable reality. A lot of people hold on to this observable reality like that's like something that's like the be-all end-all. Like, observable reality is it's a lifetime journey. Understanding what reality is and observable reality, that's a lifetime journey. But people say it like you just reached an end goal. You've learned some things, and now you're unplugged, and you have all the answers. The whole MGTOW movement is great. I love it, but like so many people there are anti-religion, and especially a lot of the unplugged community is anti-Muslim. I don't understand why Islam is the scapegoat. I don't get it. Like, yes, okay, from the perspective of terrorism, but if you're supposed to be unplugged, you should be like reading foreign politics, foreign wars that are happening in the world. You should have like a better idea of the groups and sects that could be up to it. You should have an idea of the history of terrorism. A lot of people just think Muslim terrorism. Like, no, like Islam was not the people that invented terrorism, and the people committing terrorism can hardly be said to be Muslim. To be a Muslim means to follow the way of Islam as laid out in the Quran and with the Prophet Muhammad. And if you do follow that, then it's impossible to be a terrorist. It's impossible to commit terrorism because you'll go to hell. So that's why Muslims say, oh, they're not real Muslims, because in Islam, you're only a Muslim if you follow the Prophet. You believe in there's one God and you follow the Prophet. If you do that, it's impossible to be a terrorist. So not all Muslims are terrorists. A big reason why I wanted to make this channel is that a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about Islam. and this is supposed to be from the community that's unplugged and has the truth and loves the truth and wants to get to the truth, that wants to look at observable reality. Well, it just takes like a Google search to find the truth on a lot of these things that people have misconceptions about with Islam. It takes like a simple Google search, just like 5 minutes of reading, and you'll have the answer. But people want to blame Islam for the problems in society, for the problems in America, which doesn't make sense. It's like the problems in America are stemming from the fact that there is some sort of liberal agenda that's pushed by basically people that are spreading anti-religious thought and things giving women free and equal rights and giving women even more rights and advantages over men. That's part of it. And then the other part that a lot of people criticize is big government and taxes. And, there's like libertarians, people should be free to own guns and do what they want. And basically rejecting this liberal agenda. We all know what the liberal agenda is. And basically the people are getting unplugged now, like 40 years too late. And they want to go ahead and just reject this liberal agenda, which is atheist. And yet people are going to be atheists. Like, you're rejecting the source. They've dismantled Christianity with this liberal agenda, and then your solution is saying, oh, well, I'm atheist, but I'm going to reject the liberal agenda, but I'm atheist. And then go further and say, well, Islam is the problem. Like, where was Islam in the 70s when there was the liberal movement to basically make the country perverse and perverted with their messages? I was watching like Sherlock Holmes movies from the 70s, and I saw that a lot of these taboos were starting to be broken in the 70s, probably earlier in the 60s. They rewrite history. They say the 60s everyone was having sex with each other, which I doubt that's what was happening in the 60s, but that's what they tell us now, that in the 60s everyone was literally having sex with each other, free love, and then we just believe everything. And basically they were dismantling all these Christian taboos, and so now people are, I'm unplugged, but I'm atheist. And the reason you're atheist, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're atheist, the only reason you're atheist is because you want to do things that are against God's law. You want to fornicate. You want to, smoke pot, and if you're Muslim, you want to drink alcohol. You don't want anything to confine you. You don't want to go to church. You don't want to go to mosque. You don't want to pay to charity. You don't want to basically police yourself and make sure you're not doing bad things. Make sure you're not gossiping. Make sure you're not lying and tricking people. You don't want that. You don't want any restrictions on yourself. And so that's why you're atheist nonetheless. But it's only because you want to follow yourself. You want to follow your own big brain, your intellect. You're so smart, right? I'm so smart. I'm not like these stupid people. I can figure everything out on my own. MGTOW, men going their own way, and then basically having philosophies that already existed in religion, specifically Islam, meditation. Okay, well, that's what prayer was, and Islam, specifically, that's how prayer is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a meditation. And then you have a lot of people rediscovering, fasting is good for you. Wow. Well, religion has that. Like everything. Women shouldn't have authority in a household. Wow, thank you. Well, welcome to 2,000 years ago. Or in the case of Islam, 1,400 years ago. So, no matter what people are rediscovering, it can be found in religion. And instead of taking another 40 years to rediscover the more all the other tenets in religion, why don't we just go to religion and just study that, okay? And maybe we'll reach enlightenment faster instead of it taking, multiple lifetimes, okay? How about that? Or at least, continue researching, continue learning. All I ask is that people just look into religion. If you're atheist, just look into it. Maybe you'll realize that it's not a bunch of idiots. Okay? Maybe you realize that there's something to it. We all know a lot of truths. There's billionaires that give away all their money because they realize that's the only thing that matters. It's the only way they get fulfillment and happiness. Hey, that's what religion said. You should give to charity. You should help people, help the poor, help the needy. That's what charity said. Or that's what religion said. Also, the fact that money doesn't bring fulfillment. A lot of rich people are saying, money doesn't bring fulfillment. Well, thank you. Thank you for that knowledge. There's so much self-help stuff that myself, I've ingested, but it's all found in religion. You can't point to one piece of wisdom that's not found in religion. You can't point to a falsehood in religion. And I know what people are going to say. And a big reason why a lot of people are atheists is because of evolution. And the whole idea that the earth is billions of years old and there must have been evolution and dinosaurs prove that the earth is billions of years old. And by the way, this is something they teach us from when we're 4 years old in the cartoons, Barney and all that other stuff, and school and kindergarten. They make sure they teach us this from a young age. Now, if you're truly unplugged, okay, if you're truly an unplugged person, why don't you re-examine everything you've been taught since you were a little child? But people don't want to go that deep. People want to listen to somebody else. They don't want to think for themselves. So, because people want to listen, I figured I'll make a YouTube channel. Maybe people will listen to me. Maybe people might want to, be interested in the types of things I'll have to say. I'll try to put captions and titles that are interesting, that can attract people. But the stuff the stuff I'm saying, it's not new, it's old. And that's where the wisdom is, okay? It's the true wisdom. We were given to it from God. We can try as hard as we want to rediscover wisdom, but we get lost as humans. We're always going to do weird shit as humans. For example, we're going to do human sacrifice. That's what they used to do. Before religion, people used to do human sacrifice. So for all you people saying religion is stupid, okay, well, people used to do human sacrifice. Now look at the last 40 years. Since we're moving away from religion in this American society in the last 40 years, what has happened? Has society gotten more healthy or less healthy? Of course, we all know the answer has gone less healthy. And look at the type of stuff society is doing now. Now that we're moving further and further away from religion, look at all the stuff that society is doing. Okay, we got TV shows now and movies that just show male penises, just a bare male penis in our face in a movies and shows now. That's what they do. But have you ever seen a vagina on TV? No, you haven't. Never. You've never seen a bare vagina with the lips and all in a movie or TV show. You haven't. But you've seen a lot of cocks. The whole marriage thing, it's basically devolved into prostitute. Like women would rather be prostitutes now than to be married. And you say, oh well, prostitutes. Well, from a man's perspective, there are women that you borrow for money, or there's women that you have a lifetime relationship with. Those are basically our two classes of women. Okay, there's women that have a mile of cocks run through them. Okay, and excuse my language, but you know, I I need to get these ideas through in the best way I know how. Okay, um, there's women that have slept with 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300 men, 1,000 men. Okay, um, and are they happier? Are they better off? No, they're miserable. Um, there's men that are miserable. Men are swearing off women altogether. Okay, so part of humanity is marriage and children and bringing the new generation, because otherwise this generation will end where it is and there won't be another generation. Um, the type of insanity going on where you have to treat a woman like a lady, um, but she doesn't act. She's not a lady, and she doesn't act like a lady. So a man has to be a gentleman. A woman can be has no rules or restrictions upon her behavior at all. These are a lot of things that MGTOW talks about. Well, this stuff comes from the whole, you know, pushing religion and God aside in the name of atheism. This is what atheism has brought us. So you guys want to go ahead and, you know, refer to it as gynocentrism. You know, like, it's just people. Gynocentrism is just some laws passed to support women because we have a natural human instinct to want to protect women. So God had sent us these rules and religion to help us along, and when we push that aside, we devolve. Okay, we have a lot of people believing that evolution is true. Okay, there's not one shred of evidence for evolution at all. And evolution, in my view, has been completely debunked. There's no evidence in the fossil record at all for any transitionary species. The whole carbon dating method is false. It's not based on anything. It's not true. You know, there's not. So, you know, I'm gonna do a video on that. There's a lot of people on YouTube that debunk evolution in depth. There's a lot of good books on it. But it's, you know, it's just a shame that people believe this stuff and they take it as true. So our society, we just believe in a bunch of like very, very dumb things. There's absolutely no there's no truth to it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no observable reality. Okay, it's just us humans believing what they want us to believe, getting fed, you know, being told that our desires is what matters, being told that you know, just work and make money and you'll be happy. But we can see people that have reached that level and they tell you it doesn't make you any happier. So, like, what's the purpose of life? You know, what are we doing here on Earth, right? And the only way you can find peace in that question is to go back and look into what God's true teaching is. Okay, specifically with Islam, we have a lot of good history in Islam. The Quran text is a piece of history. The hadiths, the sayings of the Prophet, that's history. It's written down from that time. Okay, now we understand, Muslims understand that not all of it is authentic, not all of it can be trusted, some of it could be bad sources, but we have a way of verifying these sources. From, if it comes from multiple sources, if we can track it down, we can go back as far as it's been recorded and track down which is, you know, if it can be verified from multiple independent sources. That's how we know that it's legitimate. And you know, through these teachings, you realize a lot of ways on how to live your life, a lot of truths, a lot of pieces of wisdom that we lost along the way. There's so many lies, and So I want to talk a lot about misconceptions about Islam, and clear the air with a lot of these misconceptions people have about Islam. And I also want to clear the air about all the misconceptions people have about science. People blindly believe and follow science, and they don't know much of anything. Um, yeah, we have computer chips, we have computers. That's very great, but the science of the natural world and how it works, they really don't have any idea. Quantum mechanics is doesn't make any sense because they probably don't have any clue as to what the hell's happening. They don't know how to define light, for example. They believe photons come out of our like light sources, and that's what quantum mechanics is based upon. However, nobody's ever observed a photon before, and people would rather believe in quantum mechanics than God. And the path of true enlightenment and peace in this world is through religion, specifically Islam. And I want to talk more about that, shed some light, shed some light upon some misconceptions. A lot of people believe Islam believes that you can kill people. Islam believes that you can rape people. Islam believes that this or that, or the other. It's just simply not true. Islam's actually a very, very simple religion, and it's actually a very minimalist religion, and a lot of it is very in line with a lot of modern thinkers on YouTube, especially. And Islam has a lot of sources there. It's a whole wealth of knowledge. It can cut a lot of corners to people's path of enlightenment, because people are just learning that a lot of things in society is bullshit, but they don't know where to go in their life. They don't know what steps to take. They don't know what purpose they have. Their purpose, I guess, is just that the fact that they learned that they were lied to in a few different instances. We were lied to in way more than a few instances. We were lied to in basically every single way. I hope to unplug people through the lens of Islam and just give people some perspective on that. All right, thank you.